join me in saying together our Sunday covenant. Love is the spirit of our people, and service is our call. To build a beloved community, to seek fuller truths in love, to dwell together in peace, to offer aid and affirmation, and to tend to our mutual well-being. This is our covenant.
Please join us in singing. We are dancing Sarah's Circle. 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 Sisters all.
Good morning, All Souls. My name is Sharon Niss. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm honored to be your worship associate today. You're welcome here at All Souls today, in person or online, however your late July has found you. Whether you are well-traveled or stuck at home, whether you're weary or energetic, we're glad you're here and hope you find some taste of what you need here today. When thinking about today's theme, I thought about different kinds of lifelines. One is the saving kind, where someone throws you a rope in the ocean. I joined All Souls in January of 2020, the first UU congregation I attended that had more than 100 members. I tried hard to find new connections in a new city and a new congregation, which are both much larger and more disconnected than my last community in Wichita, Kansas. Then in just 2 months, the small threads of connection and acquaintances I built disappeared as we isolated ourselves in our homes, behind masks, and with at least 6 feet of literal distance between us. All Souls pivoted to Zoom gatherings, and while Zoom fatigue was quite real, the intimate gatherings provided me a true lifeline as I began to connect names and faces and get to know the community at All Souls. Whether you are new or a regular attender at All Souls, I hope you get a sense of that potential lifeline for you here. In your order of service or in the chat on Zoom, you'll find a connection card, which can help build that lifeline. Just fill it out and drop it in the collection plate during the offering. When we only focus on ourselves and consider lifelines as only the ropes that save us, we miss the generational and ecological lifelines that unite past, present, and future. Our life journeys are not, in fact, singular experiences, but are part of a wider web of mutuality, part of the pulse of the universe, the heartbeat that began generations in the past and reverberates through generations to come. When the white settlers took over the lands we are currently sitting on, beneath these pews at All Souls, that the Anacostan and Piscataway people had stewarded for generations, we, speaking for my own white-bodied ancestors, didn't just steal something that wasn't ours. We interrupted a multi-generational heartbeat. While that heartbeat still beats, even faintly, it's our responsibility as the descendants of that violent interruption to rebuild relationship and to seek accountability so that heartbeat can beat stronger, not weaker, for future generations. I invite you now to take a few moments to reconnect with the web of mutuality that is here this morning in body or on screen. As you greet your neighbors, I invite you to try and find something that you have in common. Perhaps it's your literal pulse rate. Perhaps it's the reason you showed up today, a passion you share, a value that is true for you. You may be surprised how interwoven our lifelines are. And when the bell tolls, you're invited to return to your seats. Let's greet our neighbors.
I'm going to invite my young friends and any of their companions to come forward for our Time for All Ages. 1, 2, 3, 4, come on, all souls, hit the floor. We're happy that you're here today. Hooray, hooray, hooray. All right. Now, I want us to do this thing where we work to remember something that was said just a few minutes ago. It's a hard thing to do. But Miss Sharon was talking about what a lifeline is. Do any of you remember what a lifeline is that she said? Do any of you remember what a lifeline is? Sadie?
A lifeline is like when you're like struggling with something and then somebody like kind of throws you this lifeline to like help you out.
Yes, it's when, that is great. So that's a great entryway. So it's when you're struggling with something and someone throws you what you need to help you in that situation. So it started about 1700 when people were sailing a lot in deeper and faster waters, and they would tie a rope to the ship, a long rope. And so if people got knocked over the ship, they'd toss the rope, and you were in the water, and you'd grab it, and then you wouldn't get separated. And they could pull you in if you just grabbed the rope and holding on. So your job was to grab the rope, and the lifeline was to bring you back out of that time of troubles. Now, what you said, Sadie, was really good because sometimes what we're talking about with a lifeline is an actual strong rope, but sometimes it's not a rope itself. It's just the thing you need, right? And so there are all different kinds of lifelines. Like when I'm really crying or upset, do you know what helps me? When a kind person just sits by me quietly and hands me a really soft tissue, just helps me feel like there's kindness in the world and I have the time I need to kind of get centered again. But I want to share a story and actually invite you to be a part of another community's lifeline. So I want to tell you about what this is. So many of us have been hearing about the ICE and how they're taking people and forcing them out of our country sometimes. And sometimes when they take people, they put them in these places to live a while before they let them go home or send them abroad. And those places are really sad places. They're not in their home, they're not in their schools, they don't know how long they'll be there. And it really is a time of great struggle for them. And sometimes families go together, so there are children waiting in those places too. I have this friend who recently has been going down to one of these places in Dilley, Texas. And it's really heartbreaking what's there. In fact, there's this one congregation where 70% of the congregants got placed in this detention center. And the minister walked 90 miles, Reverend Diane Garcia, from the detention center to San Diego over 4 days to draw attention to what was happening to her people and all the people in this detention center. But my friend went in and was talking to this brother and this sister. And he asked the brother, "What do you want people to know about being here, who aren't here? What do you want people outside these walls to know?" And he said, "We have to be strong." And he asked his sister, "What do you want us to know?" And she said, "I remember when I was leaving my home in Venezuela, how I said goodbye to the ocean because I loved it so much. But when I got to Colombia, I looked at the ocean there and realized that the waves were the same, that there's more connection than I had imagined when I started this journey." And my friend, he's a school music teacher. And so he worked with them to make this song. And I'm going to teach it to you today, okay? It goes like this. The words are going to be on the screen in just a moment. I'll sing from here and you'll sing from there. Together we'll sing down the walls everywhere. With love in my heart like the waves of the sea. Together we'll sing till the whole world is free. So here's what happened, my friends. They created this song with this brother and the sister. And the brother and the sister taught it to everyone else during their worship time. And they sing it to each other so they could hear each other's voices throughout the whole place. And my friend and all of his friends, a whole lot of them, they gather outside every night and they sing that song outside until everyone inside can hear that song. And do you know what that means? It means that the kids inside and the families, they know they're not alone, they're not forgotten, that people care and people are paying attention. And do you know what they asked? They asked people to record videos singing this song all together, so they show that actually not just one community is caring about them and paying attention, but many communities are doing that. So would you sing this song with me so we could share this message? All right, so we're gonna sing it, let's sing it 4 times through, okay? All right, join me as soon as I start singing, because that will be better. I'll sing from here and you sing from there. Together we'll sing down the walls everywhere. With love in my heart like the waves of the sea. Together we'll sing till the whole world is free. I'll sing from here and you'll sing from there. Together we'll bring down the walls everywhere. With love in my heart like the waves of the sea. Together we'll sing till the whole world is free. I'll sing from here and you'll sing from there. Together we'll sing down the walls everywhere. With love in my heart like the waves of the sea. Together we'll sing till the whole world is free. I'll sing from there and you'll sing from there. Together we'll sing down the walls everywhere. With love in my heart like the waves of the sea. Together we'll sing that the whole world is free. When you see someone struggling or something wrong happening in that world, maybe this song will come back to you. Maybe you'll start to sing it and people will start singing it with you. But I hope you remember that sometimes the lifeline that is needed is us showing up for one another with song and joy and love and support. So I invite you to think about that as you head down to religious education or back to the pews with your family, and as we sing our children out to their places singing Sia Hamba.
Sia hamba, sia hamba,
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm John White, Treasurer of the Board, and I'm here with Susan Milner, one of our Vice Presidents. Thank you. Oh, boy. Wow. Wow. Warm crowd, thanks. Yesterday, you received an email from the Board with our annual report and other updates. If you haven't yet had a chance to read, we'd like to highlight a few things this morning. First, we're delighted to share that thanks to the generous support of the Beckner Fund, we're able to increase Reverend Rob Keithan's position from half-time to three-quarter time for the coming year. Oh, yeah. Second, thank you to everyone who has completed a pledge for fiscal year 2026, and to the many members and friends who responded to our Christmas in July request by prepaying part of this year's pledge. Your generosity and your faith in All Souls, even through a challenging year, means so much. Because of that generosity, we're very pleased to report that we're ending fiscal year 2026 in a much stronger financial position than we anticipated. At the annual meeting, we shared that our cash flow outlook was very concerning and that we might not have enough cash to get through the summer. Today, thanks to the hard work of the Financial Oversight Committee and staff to reduce expenses, and thanks to our generous financial support, our cash flow forecast is positive through August. Even better, we closed the fiscal year by eliminating our operating deficit and generating a small surplus. That's a remarkable turnaround in a short period of time. We're deeply grateful to our staff, the Financial Oversight Committee, the Finance Committee, and all of you for making this possible. But we're not out of the woods yet. We still have to live within our budget and repay the Hope Rises funds. But we're moving in the right direction, and that's something worth celebrating.
There's more. You said you wanted to hear from us, so we have a lot of updates. And following up on Hope Rises, we just appointed 6 congregants to an internal review team to ensure that we know what policies and practices are needed going forward to ensure that misspending does not happen again. So please join me in thanking Julie Agarwal, Kathy Taylor-Galbitz, Vicki McClure, Simon Powell, Micah Watson, and Bob Wittig for leading that work. So we are celebrating today 2 years of our developmental ministry period with Reverend Anastasia. This is a special period in which we do the work to prepare to call a new minister. We hope you'll take the time to read our annual report along with updates from Reverend Anastasia, the Financial Oversight Committee, and the Finance Committee. Together, they describe the work underway in 3 key areas during this period. Those areas are financial sustainability, spiritual repair, and stronger governance and operations. And as part of that work of developmental ministry, I want to say that the UUA, and specifically Reverend Tyler Coles from the Congregational Life Team, will work with us this fall to better understand and learn more about what developmental ministry means for us, what we can accomplish together, and the opportunities and challenges ahead. This summer, we've been making meaningful progress on our second goal, spiritual repair. I participated in 2 of the History of Harm processing circles led by Reverend Anastasia and members of the board this week, and I encourage everyone to attend one if you can, whether you've been part of All Souls for decades or just a short time. You can sign up using the QR code in today's announcements. If you'd like to be more involved in this History of Harm work, applications for the Healing and Accountability Task Force will be included in next week's e-news. We're also making progress on caring for our building, with important life safety improvements already made, including roof repairs that are happening now. a down payment on a new solar array, and work next spring to restore our steeple and finally remove that protective netting. So if you ask us, 2 years of this developmental ministry period calls for celebration. So we invite you to join us after the service for ice cream and a chance to meet and talk with board members in Pierce Hall after the service. We'd love to see you there.
Let's take a moment of stronger appreciation for our Board of Trustees. Each Sunday, a member of our pastoral care team wearing a green stole is available after the service near the Chalice area. Today's pastoral associate is Dana Martin, if you would value a listening ear or accompaniment. If you're a long-term member of All Souls, you may remember Peachy Murray. She joined All Souls in 1969 and was known for her commitment to social justice, her elegance, and her love of music. She is shown here with her beloved late husband, Bob. You are invited on behalf of her children, Robert, Suzanne, and Diane, to attend her Celebration of Life service, which will be here in the sanctuary this coming Saturday at 11 a.m. We send condolences to Lori Chang, whose mother passed into death yesterday after suffering a stroke roughly 2 weeks ago. Our hearts, solidarity, anger, and grief extend to all those in and connected to the LGBTQ community. The attack on Berlin Pride reveals again that we cannot rest until homophobia and transphobia are eliminated and all violent hate is contained to history. I now invite you to lift up out loud, in the chat, or in the sacred silence of your heart, the people, places, or causes that you carried with you here today. Spirit of life, love that calls us to love, care that calls us to care, presence that calls us into deeper presence. We give thanks that we have been brought here together in this beloved place, this holy sanctuary, this sacred harbor, where we bring ourselves as we are in times of sorrow, in times of joy, in times of confusion, in times of celebration, in times of fear, in times of clarity, in times of quiet acceptance. In our efforts to pay closer attention to our inner lives, to each other and the world around us, may we notice the holy today, however the holy expresses itself. May we cultivate presence and awe while we attune to the murmurs and shimmers within us and around us, whether it be the spark of inspiration, an authentic sharing from someone we are connected to, or unexpected warmth from someone we don't know yet. May we continue to attune to what Reverend Howard Thurman called the sound of the genuine within ourselves. May we become quiet enough and still enough to notice the call deep within us that lures us towards what matters most, this call that lures us towards freedom and purpose. We ask for guidance and space and time to do just that, so we could lead the lives we feel most called to live. Today, we remember the people who gifted us with their generosity and wisdom, whose gifts helped us in our becoming more authentically aligned with our true self, Whether that was through affirmation or transformation, we give thanks to them and for these gifts. Perhaps there is someone who we want to bless, someone who we haven't been able to make time for, someone we love who dearly wants our attention. May we find a way to say, I'm here with you. I'm paying close attention to the stirrings of your heart. May we continue to cultivate the practice of paying close attention, of blessings so that people can feel more lovingly held in this hurting world. May we meet this moment and all the moments ahead with spaciousness and presence. May we deeply and lovingly witness the person in front of us, beside us, and within us. May it be so. I invite us to continue our prayer through music. Please join us in singing Fuente de Amor and Spirit of Life.
When we tell our stories from sacred space, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then when our heart is in a holy place.
Good morning. I'm Reverend Anastasia Zinke, All Souls Developmental Minister, and it is my honor and my joy to welcome you to our third week of our Story and Song series, in which a member of All Souls reflects on how a piece of music particularly spoke to them at an inflection point in their life. There will be 2 more Sundays in the series after this one. I love this series because we at All Souls are a very work-focused people. We gather together to do the work of justice, the work of offering compassionate support for those who are aching, the work of leading and experiencing worship and fostering spiritual growth together. But sometimes we are so focused on purpose, we forget to really get to know our people. Today's speaker is Neil Manzullo, who I've gotten to know somewhat through committee work that we've done together. Through these, I have seen that Neil is super smart, a fast writer, a decisive thinker, and sometimes, most beautifully of all, reliable. But I've also seen that he is incredibly gentle and wonderfully kind and honest. He pays attention to people and what they feel and think and want, all of which just made me more curious about him and interested in who this committee member was. Today, we get to know Neil a little better. Please join me in welcoming Neil Manzullo to our pulpit.
Good morning. Along a gravel road, about 2 hours west of Chicago, I grew up on a farm named Glory Acres. My father had grown up in a one-room apartment above a grocery store, and as an adult, he moved to the country and gave the farm its name. He lived there alone for a time, before my mother, before my siblings and me, and I now believe that naming it was his attempt to manifest the life he wanted and honor the glory of the world. Our farm had 40 acres, and the land gently sloped down from our house into a valley bisected by a creek, or as we call it out here, a creek. We rented most of the land out to a cattle farmer. Cows sometimes chased me through the pasture, and I sometimes chased them. When it was nice outside, and it often was, I'd climb a crabapple tree and read. Butterflies and bees and the smell of cow pies floated around me as I sat in the branches and read the Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew. We were homeschooled, and the land was our classroom and our mother our teacher. We captured a snake and fed it mice. We ran through the long grass at night, bottling fireflies in jars as bats flew above. We managed an unruly vegetable garden, delighting in the taste and snap of raw green beans straight from the plant. We sometimes learned hard lessons there. We had dozens of kittens, until we didn't, when their father returned to destroy the litter. Owls found the remainder, and my mother had us pick apart owl pellets, finding pieces of cats and mice. Our dogs ran free. Mitzi, a white German shepherd, Lucy, a spaniel named after Lucy of Narnia, and a chocolate lab named RD. The name actually an abbreviation because some foolish parent had decided to give a child the agency to name a dog, and I named the dog Radical Dude. We'd sit on a hill with the dogs that overlooked the creek after they'd had their fill of its muddy banks. The farm has now been sold, oddly to a Unitarian minister, but the dogs still rest in the ground on that hill. I spent my first decade at Glory Acres. as much as it could be said for a child whose father was in fact a lawyer and not a farmer, it was a life of and on the land. Music filled our house. In the den, my mother played the piano and my father the organ. Together, they would play hymns and patriotic standards, the organ sometimes drowning out the piano through my father's sheer enthusiasm as he pounded out the battle hymn of the Republic and Joy to the World. Alone, though, my mother would pull out her own music, dog-eared Bob Dylan and Chopin songbooks. She would play that for us, but mostly, I think, for herself. She seemed drawn to poets, to multi-instrumentalists, to those with unique, some might say grating voices. My favorite was Joni Mitchell, that often melancholic poet and singer of my mother's own youth. We also grew up mired in fundamentalist Christianity, especially when we left Illinois for the DC area, and as waves of fundamentalist evangelicalism overtook mainline Christian traditions. And although my parents had largely grown up in and been flourished by mainline Christian churches, those were not the churches they chose for us as children. In Sunday school, we learned to mistrust the world, that good Christians should be in the world but not of the world. We learned that we should pledge ourselves to purity. We debated how much we could take in of the trappings of the world, its music, its poetry, without actually becoming corrupted by it. We heard little of caretaking and stewarding the land, which was, after all, just a temporary home before we moved on to heaven. Although fundamentalism starts with the simple idea that God loved the world and its people and wanted to save it, the fundamentalism that I experienced didn't have much success at teaching us to love ourselves or the created world. Instead, its most enduring gift was a lingering shame for how much I loved the world. I needed lifelines out of that fundamentalism, and my parents, whether they knew it or not, had given me two, because they had gifted me with a love of nature and of music. The song I picked for today is Clam, Crab, Cockle, Cowrie by Joanna Newsom, which I first heard in college. Newsom is a poet, a multi-instrumentalist, with her own odd and arresting voice, my own Joni Mitchell. This song from her first album is a song of connection to the world. She sings about walking along the beach at dawn. She sees bats above her. She feels the line between herself and the world collapse. Bellies are filled with bumblebees, skin stirred into tea, people are stars, and she waltzes with the sea. She is in and of the world. It's not a world without hard lessons, but she embraces those hard lessons. Her music has been a lifeline for me. I encountered this particular song as I went to a fundamentalist college and struggled to love myself because of what I had been told was my undue attachment to this world and its music. Once, after reviewing one too many secular albums for the school newspaper, where I was the entertainment section editor, the newspaper's faculty advisor told me to stop, to focus on writing more of a Christian section for the paper. I tried to explain why and how I wanted to write about the world and relied on mainline Christian thinkers like T.S. Eliot to do so. And the faculty advisor emailed me in a line I still remember 20 years later that my, quote, arrogance will not allow for correction and indicates that taking the time to correct you would be fruitless. It was a cruel thing to tell a student, and I decided to be neither in nor of the newspaper, and I quit. I heard this song for the first time in that context, and in it I found another lover of the world, and I was again 8 years old in a crabapple tree, watching cows, reading, at peace and at home. Newsom remained with me. When my mother had cancer, she put out a second album, and its odd stories of sparrows and pharaohs took me somewhere beyond radiation treatments. When my first marriage ended, her third album came out, a breakup album that intentionally evokes Joni Mitchell, and it held me in my own heartbreak. I saw her on the tour for that album, and she played at First Unitarian in Philadelphia, which was the first time I had ever set foot in a Unitarian church. Its AC worked as well as All Souls AC used to work, so I took a church nap during the concert. Her last album came out about 10 years ago. I discovered I didn't need it as much since I had found a path back to loving myself and the world and surprisingly some of the Christian faith. All Souls played a role in that, but that is a different story. As I listened to this particular song, the generational boundary between my parents and myself and my spouse Danielle and our child Avery dissolves. Growing up on Glory Acres, my parents gifted me with love of music and of the world, and that gift somehow blossomed and saved me, my lifelines. Danielle and I now gift something similar to Avery. At night, the last thing I do before leaving his bedroom is to play one of my songs. During the day, he gets enough of his songs, and admittedly, that is a lot of K-pop demon hunters currently. But before he sleeps, it's my turn to pick. Sometimes we listen to the music that I grew up with: Dylan, Neil Diamond, Neil Young, a lot of Neils, and Joni Mitchell. I feel an invisible thread connecting him to me, to my parents, as we listen to them. At times, we listen to this song, Clam, Crab, Cockle, Cowrie. It's become a favorite, and we play the part near the end where Newsom sings Starry, Starry, Starry over and over, and together we sing. Danielle is also a child of the farm and a lover of music. At times, Avery sits with her at the piano and they play together, and I am transported back to watching my own mother play. Danielle, too, shares music with us today as the pianist, and in 2 weeks, she and Avery will fly to Iowa, to the farm that she grew up on, and he'll climb inside of tractors and peek inside the barns where she once spent so much time. Thank you for letting me share a little of my life with you.
That means no. Where I come from, I am cold. I'm waiting for the day to come. I chew my lips, oh, and I scratch my nose. Feels so good to be a rose. Oh, don't you lift me up, ooh, like I'm that shy. No, 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 just give it up. There are bats all dissolving in a row, oh, into the wishy-washy dark that cannot let go, and I cannot let go. And so I thank the Lord, ooh, and I thank his sword, though it be mincing up the morning slightly bored. Oh, 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 morning without a warning, like a hole. Oh, and I watch you go. There are some mornings when the sky looks like a road. There are some dragons who were built to have and hold, and some machines are dropped from great heights lovingly, and some great bellies ache with many bumblebees, and they sting so terribly. I do as I please. Now I'm on my knees, and your skin is something that I stir into my tea, your starry, starry, starry. And I'm tumbling down and I check a frown. That's why I love this town. We'll just look around to see me serenaded early and celebrated sadly and dedicated dourly, waltzing with the open sea. Clam, crab, cockle, cowrie. Oh, you just look at me. Oh, 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 oh,
Neil, I am going to add good musical taste to your qualities that I appreciate. I think maybe the song ended. In my life, in my life, to know and be known by others is the best blessing I know. So, Neil, beloved, thank you for sharing this morning. Knowing you more fully is a true blessing. This is the moment in the service when I'm supposed to connect Neil's message to Unitarian Universalist theology. But Neil's storytelling was so rich and vivid, and he was so honest about his moments of struggle, and so compassionately generous about what his lifelines were, how he received them from his parents, shared them with his wife, and fostered them in his child, that today I'm drawn more to a pastoral message than a theological one. For the beauty in Neil's story, I had this whole section where I was writing to Neil in the you form, and now that he's not here, I'm rewriting it in the he form, which makes these sentence very awkward to change. Let's just pretend he's here in the room. In the beauty of your story, Neil, I don't want anyone to miss the powerful point, the gift that I see within it. So here is the message of this morning. Know your lifelines and how to grab hold of them. Neil's story reminds me of the great sage Mary Oliver. I want to read you one of my favorite Mary Oliver poems, Wild Geese, which has always spoken to me of homecoming. I've long experienced it as a ritual that invokes belonging without judgment, offers peace in the presence of sorrow, and speaks of a promise that can be continuously realized in this world. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of rain are moving across the landscapes over prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the geese high in the clean blue air are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over announcing your place in the family of things. I still feel that homecoming, that belonging, that peace, that promise when I hear this poem. Now, my sister, Zandi, and her partner are writers. They spend most of their time with writers and poets. I was asked at a dinner party 15 years ago whether I used poems in worship, and which ones. When I named Mary Oliver as probably the poet most invoked in Unitarian Universalism, I could tell it landed the way it would have if I had said that McDonald's makes the best burger I've ever had. I get it, she's incredibly accessible. She does not hide her faithfulness or her unmitigated belief in the saving beauty of the world. She offers it so generously and compellingly, it is hard not to be converted, and yet people rarely get credit for making obvious points. But there is more to Mary Oliver, which I understood when through the contemporary poet, Nadia Colburn, gave me another lens through which to view her work. In 2011, in an interview with Maria Shriver on O, Oliver said something out loud that she had never said in public before, that she had survived childhood sexual abuse. Now, this had been in her writing, if you knew where to look and looked a little harder. Dream Work, the book she wrote after winning the Pulitzer Prize, is largely but not entirely about the devastation of Native American people and culture. It includes the poem Rage, which speaks directly about the pain of incestuous sexual abuse. It is a hard poem. But friends, if you look to the next page in Dream Work, you will find Wild Geese. It goes from rage to tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. When Oliver says despair, it is an honest word. Suddenly, now that I knew Mary Oliver better, I understood her poems in an entirely new way. They weren't innocent. They were written by a woman who knew exactly what darkness felt like, what despair and cruelty and violation looked like, and who found and kept finding something that could hold her. That something was a grove of trees outside her childhood home in Ohio, and later they were the shores and birds and snow of New England, if one was to narrow her writings down for specificity. The point is that Oliver didn't allow abuse and despair to have the last word. Meanwhile, she writes, terrible things do happen. Yet she writes, meanwhile. Meanwhile, the wild geese high in the clean blue air are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over announcing your place in the family of things. Here's what I want you to notice. Mary Oliver focused the body of her work as a poet on the source of her salvation and recovery. Year after year, poem after poem, she trained her attention outward toward the world until noticing became instinct. Her adult life was not easy. It was not all meadows and honey and butterflies. She lost and she suffered, but she already knew to turn to nature and poetry. That turning, my friends, is what a lifeline is. Not a rope that magically appears the moment you go overboard. A lifeline is something someone secured to the boat long before the storm, something they practiced holding so that when the waters were cold and closing over their head, their hands already knew what to do. So I want to ask you something. What is your lifeline? Maybe it's the natural world, as the way it was for Oliver and for Neil and for myself. Perhaps it's music, or a particular voice on the other end of the phone, or your hands in soil, or a hymn that you have sung so many times your body remembers it before your mind does. Perhaps it's this room, this community, these beautiful, full-hearted, hard-working people. Perhaps it's our Sundays together, the Sundays when you're eager to come, and the Sundays when you could barely get yourself out of bed, but you join us anyway. Whatever it is, I'm not asking whether or not you have one somewhere in theory. I'm asking whether you practice reaching for it even on the good days, on the ordinary days, in the everyday. Because the hard world does not wait for us to be ready. It does not announce itself in advance so we can prepare a lifeline at the last minute. The people who survive the deep pits are more often than not the people who've already been practicing quietly, faithfully, long before the fall, the discipline of reaching for what holds them. So may we do what Oliver and Neil did. May we find what calls us, what sustains us, what brings us joy again and again, and may we embrace it so when we need it, our hands already know how to hold on, and it already has the strength to pull us home. May it be so, and amen.
As Reverend Anastasia has invited us to reflect on this week's question, what have been your lifelines? You'll find space to reflect on it on the connection card, and as the music plays, we invite you to write on both sides of the card. Our web of mutuality calls us to actively participate and help keep alive our country's democracy right here at home. Our Share the Plate recipient for July, receiving 50% of our non-pledge plate offering, is our regional voter mobilization campaign known as UU the Vote of DC, Maryland, and Virginia. It is a unique three-way partnership between All Souls, UUs for Social Justice, and UU the Vote nationally to mobilize, build capacity, and increase connection among Unitarian Universalists in this region. We encourage you to give generously to them, as well as to support the ongoing mission and ministries of All Souls.
Beloveds, may you befriend your lifelines. Spend time with them like it's a lifelong relationship where you give and receive and enjoy whatever that is that sustains you. May you reach for it regularly until it becomes instinct. And when you grab hold of it, may your grip be strong, and may it pull you towards home. I invite us to rise in body, to sit with gusto, and sing with spirit our closing hymn, Blue Boat Home.
Amen. Go in peace.